You hear that? That's the sound of knowledge. I'm about to drop some knowledge on you. Elden Ring, PvP, is about making predictions, not just reading your enemy. You have to guess and gamble on what you think your opponent is going to do. Like, look at this. I hit 3 R1s in a row right here. 1, 2, 3. What do people do after they get hit with 3 R1s? I take a gamble and I go for a parry. He rolls instead. But you can see me let off that parry before I know anything that he's going to do. I'm gambling on what I think is coming next, and that's how you win invasions. Now look at this. He whiffs 2 R1s, setting me up for an R2 because of the spacing. Now, I let off that R2 before I knew what he was going to do. I was guessing that he was going to try and let that Ash of War rip, that he was going to do something else. Now look at this. He hits me with 2 R1s. I roll the next 2, and then I take another gamble. This time I go for the parry again, and it works. And you can actually see me back off a little bit from the parry because I didn't think it was going to hit. But that is the benefit of guessing what your opponent is going to do. You shouldn't be necessarily reacting to what people are doing or like reading their animations, because this game is so fast. There's so many things happening all at once. Sometimes reading their animations and reading what they're doing is important, but you will see a lot more benefits if you just try and let stuff rip before you actually know what your opponent's going to do. So I have some clips here of me doing that. Sometimes succeeding, sometimes failing, but you'll notice that I tend to succeed more often than I fail. Like for instance here, we hit him with an R1 here coming up, and he starts rolling. Now, I start letting this running R2 rip before he rolls again. It's kind of right after his roll finishes, because I'm guessing that he's going to keep rolling. So we catch him a couple more times. Because after people get hit, there's really only so many things that they can do, right? So again, I see him lining up for that Ash of War. I go for the parry, and I didn't know it was going to work. Again, like I kind of back off a little bit before going in for the riposte. So when you are facing somebody down, what you should be doing is asking yourself, what kind of options does this person have in the moment? And what do I think is kind of the most likely thing that they're going to do? So like this right here, I hit an R2, and then I guess that he's going to roll. So I start another running R1 before I see him roll. And you can see that he rolls in response, but he doesn't roll quick enough. Now I have another option here. I could have gone for another R1, but I decided to kind of mess with him a little bit and just kind of get up in his face and then let another R1 rip. Because if he's panic rolling, the chances are that his iframes are not going to line up with like what's actually going on. Other things that you should do, you should be free aiming and predicting where people are going to move. See, I set up a Giant's Flame Take Thee, and I aim it a little bit to the left because I think that he's going to run in that direction. And I can't see because of, the special effects of this spell, but it hits and you can see where he was. He was exactly where I thought he was going to be. Now that doesn't always work, but things like Giant's Flame Take Thee, Cannon of Haima, things like that, you're almost never going to hit them if you are locked on, because it's going to land where people were standing 10 years ago. Like, people are going to start running the minute they see you queuing up that spell. Another thing that you can do by predicting is punishing healing. So like, I hit her and she's below half health. I predict that she's going to heal, so I let a lightning spear rip. And my prediction was correct. So then you're able to get some free damage off on a person and punish their heal because you correctly guessed what they were going to do. Now, if I had waited for her to start that animation, to start that, like, I keep calling it Estus, the healing flask animation, my lightning thing would have missed. Now here, I go in for a trade with an R1, and then I predict again that she's going to roll. So I go for the lightning spear, and it catches her just in time, just as her iframes end. But I didn't know what she was going to do before I hit L1, before I cast the lightning bolt. So it really is all about just making predictions. And you get better at this the more invasions you do. It's a little bit of like psychology almost. Like, how are people going to react when I get them into certain situations, right? Like, if somebody is low on health and I've already hit them with, 2 R1s here, are they going to swing at me again? Are they going to roll? Are they going to go for a parry? Are they going to use a spell? And depending on the scenario, people do different things, but people tend to do similar things in similar scenarios, in similar dungeons, and similar kind of fights. And here's an interesting example, right? I come in here, and I kind of have a feeling that the host is behind me, so I hit R1 before I turn my camera. And you can see that that pays off here, right? He was standing in the corner, kind of hiding from the chariot. But that was just a vibe. I was just reading the vibes, I didn't know that he was behind me. It very well could have turned out that I just kind of bonk into a wall and I get absolutely destroyed by, the host and his phantom that he has summoned. But I think that you'll find that this kind of does work out more often than not the more experience that you have. So here's another example that I thought was kind of fun. We have a blue here, and you see me in a second here hitting R1 on him. And then I think he's going to roll again. So I run after him and try and time my running R1 to catch him. Because I was guessing that he was going to keep running, right? Instead of staying in the fight. Now here I go for another trade. Right here. Because I'm guessing that he's going to sort of make a last-ditch effort. But I know that the hyper armor that I have on that swing is going to sustain me through that swing, even if he kind of lands his hit. And this host was doing something very cool that I had never seen before. She was dressed as the creepy windmill village people. And she was just chilling, kind of like hiding in the middle of them. So this actually turned into kind of a fun fight. So I'll let the rest of it play here just because I've never seen anybody do this before. And it made me laugh and it made me smile. I'll take a million invasions like this over like fighting people on the first step, like first step gankers or duelists. Once you get up into like level 90, level 100, I kind of hate invading at that level because this is the exception, right? Somebody doing something fun and interesting. Normally what you get is like the same few areas and everybody's using the same weapons. It's just Moonveil, Rivers of Blood, Vike's Warspear, Moonveil, Rivers of Blood, Vike's Warspear, over and over and over again, and it gets so tiring. So thank you to this host for doing something different and actually kind of interesting. Okay, here's one more that I absolutely flub. I had it in my fingers, and I made some very fundamental mistakes that I want to show you. But first off, a little bit of a successful prediction. So I see these guys coming at me, and I have an elevator. Elevator plus Black Flame Tornado is a game changer. So I go ahead and step on the elevator, and I'm going to ride it down, guessing that one of these guys is going to follow me. Like one of them is going to try and hop in here with me. And the Phantom takes the bait, which sets me up for basically just a free kill. Like if you're in this tight of an area with Black Flame Tornado, there's nothing you can do. But I didn't know that they were going to come down after me, right? I could have very well ridden down this elevator all alone and just wasted some FP. But I made a correct prediction based on just sort of what I know about this level and what I know about how people tend to play in this level. So I can trade with this guy, right? But he has bleed and spinning slash, and he's doing really, really quick blood loss buildup. So I kind of decide to like change my approach a little bit and go for a parry. So I hit the parry here, and I hit that L2 before I even saw him swinging. Like on the footage, I'm parrying after he's swinging, but the human eye does not move as fast as this game moves, you know? So I was just sort of guessing that that's what he was going to do. Now I've got this guy on the ropes, and I start making some really fundamental mistakes. I am not two-handing my weapon right now. So I don't know if I can really trade into it, and I go for a couple of parries in a row here, and I whiff them, and it sets me up for huge blood loss from the spinning slash. And now I'm just like panic rolling. Like every time this guy hits me, he's doing more and more blood loss damage to me. And I hop down here, and at this point I thought in my head that I was two-handing. So I jump over here, and you can see me hit another parry when I meant to do Black Flame Tornado. And Black Flame Tornado really could have kind of buttoned up this whole thing, right? I think it probably could have ended the fight right there. But instead, I keep going for parries. I'm kind of panicking a little bit. I run into a shrub, and then I die. So that's how to lose an invasion. And that's why you should be predicting what people are going to do instead of reacting to it. All right, thanks.